From AccuWeather.com, this is AccuWeather Daily, a brief host-read article. It's weather news in a nutshell. While meteorological fall started back on the 1st, astronomical autumn starts on the equinox on Monday the 22nd. But even before the end of August, some folks in the Northeast and the Midwest were feeling some cooler temperatures more indicative of October than late August. So when will it feel like fall for the rest of us? Well, when astronomical fall rolls around in a few weeks, don't expect calm, crisp days across the board. Some regions will slide into sweater weather. Others could be dealing with wildfires, lingering summer heat, or tropical storms that spin up close to home. Here's a quick tour around the country to give you a broad overview of what autumn may be like where you are, and whether a pumpkin spice latte or maybe a cool soft drink may be more to your liking. Warm, humid air will hold firm across the eastern U.S. through the start of autumn, delaying the true arrival of fall-like weather conditions. However, the warmest weather compared to the historical average will be focused on areas from California to Texas and northward into Oregon and Idaho. Chilly transitions will have people reaching for hoodies, pants, and heavier coats in late October and into early November as intrusions of cold air become more frequent. Meanwhile, warm air will be persistent across the southeast and the southwest well into the second half of fall. The cold air will arrive and be most pronounced in North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, and Michigan. Tropical rain will be around to fuel risk for flooding, with moisture-laden systems from the tropics combining with slow-moving fronts. That could possibly cause flooding from the central Gulf Coast into the Appalachians and parts of the Midwest. This includes some areas devastated by deadly flooding during the summer. Flash flooding will remain a concern early in the season across the Southwest due to the annual monsoon before it eventually dries out. Meanwhile, the onset of the wet season could cause localized flooding in the Pacific Northwest, where rain can quickly run off the parched soils across the region. The collision of lingering summer warmth and encroaching cold air will trigger severe weather from the central Gulf Coast to the Ohio Valley. These regions are expected to see a moderate risk for damaging storms and tornadoes, especially in October and November. Florida and the Southeast may also experience tornadoes tied to tropical systems in September and October. Fall is the second most severe weather season, only behind spring, when powerful thunderstorms and tornadoes are most frequent across the country. How about those fall allergies? They can be a problem for some, and AccuWeather's Alan Reppert said that allergies from grass and weed pollen will run higher than average into early fall from the plains to the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, where rainfall has been frequent and heavy throughout the late spring and summer. Out in the West, drought will be the risk as it leads to a potential wildfire danger there, and this year it will peak early. The wildfire threat will be elevated across the West through the first half of autumn, particularly in California, the Rockies, and the Northwest. Wind events may spark large fires in central and southern California as early as September, while lightning from moisture-starved thunderstorms could ignite fires farther north. The Great Lakes region may also face fire concerns during dry, windy periods. If dry stretches persist, parts of the Northeast and the Carolinas could see heightened fire risk this fall. AccuWeather's Paul Pastelok said, with dry fuels left over from Hurricane Helene last year, there is a high risk in western North Carolina, northwestern South Carolina, and northern Georgia. Drought could worsen in the Northwest and the Rockies before improving later in the season. The monsoon could eliminate the short-term drought concerns in parts of New Mexico and Arizona, while dry conditions persist elsewhere in the Southwest. Dry spells could lead to drought development in parts of the Great Lakes, the Northeast, and the Mid-Atlantic, similar to last year, though not quite as extreme. How about snow? When might you see the first few flakes? Snow may arrive early in the Rockies downwind of the Great Lakes and the coldest spots in the plains, which are typical spots for early season wintry weather. Snow lovers across the rest of the country may have to wait just a bit longer than usual to see some snowflakes. It will be a slow start to the lake effect snow season in the Great Lakes, but some areas could receive measurable snow in November. So let's talk about those tropical threats with the possibility of fast developing storms close to the U.S. Warm waters will fuel the potential for particularly dangerous storms and hurricanes from late summer throughout autumn. AccuWeather's Alex De Silva said that development can be quick, as they tend to form near land over the southwest Atlantic, Gulf, and Caribbean, giving short time to prepare rather than farther out over the Atlantic. AccuWeather is predicting an active Atlantic hurricane season with 13 to 18 named storms, 7 to 10 hurricanes, 3 to 5 major hurricanes, and 3 to 6 direct impacts to the U.S. Now, that includes Chantal, which made landfall in South Carolina as a tropical storm back on July 6th, and Hurricane Erin, which became a rare Category 5 storm on August 16th. So, a quick recap. It will be a warm start to fall in the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, Southwest, and most of the Rocky Mountains. The Great Lakes and parts of the Plains may see snow before the rest of the country. The Appalachians, Ohio Valley, and Central Gulf Coast will be the most flood-prone. California, the Northwest, Midwest, and areas of the Carolinas hit hard by Hurricane Helene last year will be at the greatest risk for wildfires. And from the Central Gulf Coast to the Ohio Valley, it will be the greatest risk for severe weather. That's all for now. You can find more regional forecasts and science-based articles at AccuWeather.com. And for your local forecast at your fingertips, download the AccuWeather app. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe. I'll be back tomorrow with more from AccuWeather.